You know what's wild? The candidates who walk out of that examination room with a band 8, they didn't actually start their test when they sat down across from the examiner.
Wait, what do you mean they didn't start it?
I mean, they started it 30 minutes earlier, in the waiting room. While everyone else was scrolling their phone in dead silence, sweating, the high scorers were already in test mode, quietly, deliberately. And honestly, that's half the reason they win.
Okay, so what on earth were they doing?
That, my friend, is exactly what we're unpacking today, step by step, the full 30-minute ritual.
Right, well, hello and welcome back. I'm Felicity, and that's Anthony, who has just thrown down quite the claim there. So before anyone clicks away thinking this is hype,
There, fair.
let's remind people why they should actually trust us on this one. Anthony, you've been examining IELTS speaking tests for how long now?
Over a decade, thousands of real candidates. And look, the reason this episode exists is because I noticed a pattern, like a really clear pattern. The students who came in cold, you could hear it in their first 30 seconds. Stiff, hesitant, searching for words. And the ones who came in warmed up, they sounded like they'd been chatting in English all morning.
Because they had been.
Exactly. So today, episode 20, by the way, which means this completes our second Examiner Secrets trilogy, we're giving you the actual minute by minute warm up routine, the one top scorers use. And I promise you, it costs nothing, takes 30 minutes, and it could be the difference between a 6.5 and a 7.
Big promise. Let's deliver on it.
Okay, so let me set the scene. You've been told to arrive at the test center at, let's say, 1 o'clock. What time are most students arriving?
Probably right on the dot, maybe 5 minutes before.
Right. And what time should you be arriving?
Based on what you just said, 12:30?
12:30 minimum. And here's the thing, you're not arriving early for paperwork. The paperwork takes about, I don't know, 4 minutes. You're arriving early to give your brain and your mouth time to switch into English mode. That's the whole game.
Okay, so let's get specific. Walk me through it. It's 12:30, I've just arrived, what do I do first?
Right. Phase 1, and this is roughly the first 10 minutes, is what I call physical warm up. Your mouth, like it's a muscle, or, well, a bunch of muscles. And if you've been silent all morning, those muscles are basically asleep.
I'd never thought of it like that.
Most people don't, but think about it. Singers warm up, actors warm up, athletes warm up. Why would speaking a second language under pressure be any different? So find a quiet corner. The toilets are actually perfect for this, honestly. And do some tongue twisters, quietly, under your breath.
Like what? Give us one.
Oh, classics. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Try it. Say it 3 times fast.
Red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. Okay, that's harder than it looks.
Right? Or she sells seashells by the seashore. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to wake up your tongue, your lips, your jaw, and get them moving. 2 or 3 minutes of that, and you'll already feel a difference.
Okay, mouth is awake. What's next?
Next is what I call English only mode. From this moment until you walk out of the test, you do not think in your first language. You do not text in your first language, nothing. Read something in English on your phone. News article, a Reddit post, doesn't matter. Just immerse.
That's actually quite hard, isn't it? Especially if you're nervous, your brain wants to retreat to comfort.
It is hard, but it's also crucial because here's what happens to most students. They walk in, the examiner says, "Good afternoon, can you tell me your full name, please?" And their brain has to do a translation. Their first words in English are with the examiner. That's a disaster.
So your first English words should be where?
In the waiting room, which brings us to phase 2. Around 12:40, 12:45, find another candidate. Smile, say hi in English.
Surprised. Talk to a stranger. Anthony, in some cultures, that's...
I know. It feels weird. But listen, every single person in that room is doing the IELTS. They are all nervous. They all need exactly what you need. And when you walk over and say, "Hey, are you doing the speaking test today as well?" 9 times out of 10, they're relieved. You've just made a friend and warmed up your English at the same time.
Brilliant. And what do you actually talk about? Because surely the nerves take over.
Easy stuff. Where are you from? What city? Have you taken the test before? Why are you taking it? What score do you need? These are literally part one questions, by the way.
Oh, that's clever. You're actually rehearsing the test.
Exactly. You're rehearsing without it feeling like rehearsal. And by the time the examiner asks you, so where are you from? You've already answered that question twice in the last 15 minutes. It comes out smooth, confident, natural.
Okay, so let me jump in here because I want to give listeners something they can actually use. Anthony, can you give us a few specific phrases, proper warm up phrases that they should be practicing in those last few minutes before they walk in?
Yes, absolutely. So these are what I call gear shift phrases. They're little verbal launch pads that buy you a second of thinking time and make you sound more sophisticated immediately. Phrase number one, I'd have to say,
Repeat that for the listeners.
I'd have to say. Try it. Pause your podcast if you need to. I'd have to say. Use it instead of just answering yes or no.
I love that one. Give us another.
What I find particularly interesting is now this one's gold because it does two things. It signals that you've thought about the question and it leads naturally into a developed answer.
Say it once more slowly.
What I find particularly interesting is okay, phrase 3. To be perfectly honest,
Ooh, that one's lovely. It sounds so natural.
and it is natural. Native speakers say it constantly. And finally, and this is my personal favorite, if I'm being frank,
Very British.
very British, very examiner friendly. So those four phrases, I'd have to say, what I find particularly interesting is, to be perfectly honest, and if I'm being frank, I want listeners to literally mutter those to themselves in the waiting room, 5 times each. It's free, it's fast, and it primes your brain to use them in the actual test.
Okay, so we've covered physical warm up, English only mode, talking to other candidates, and rehearsing key phrases. What's the last piece? Because you mentioned mental preparation earlier.
Right, phase 3, the final 5 minutes before they call your name. This is where most students completely lose it, honestly. They start spiraling. What if I forget vocabulary? What if my mind goes blank? What if the examiner's mean?
Yeah, that spiral is brutal.
It's brutal. So here's what top scorers do instead. 3 slow breaths, in through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4, and out through the mouth for 6. Just 3 rounds. It physically slows your heart rate. And then, and this is the bit I love, they remind themselves of one specific thing.
Which is?
Well, that the examiner is not their enemy. The examiner is like a neutral professional. They want you to do well. They are not trying to trick you. They've sat across from thousands of nervous candidates and they've seen it all. So you don't need to perform, you just need to communicate. That mental shift from I'm being judged to I'm having a conversation, that's the difference between a 6 and a 7 easily.
That's actually really powerful, Anthony. And quick reminder for everyone listening, if this kind of insider stuff is landing for you, hit that subscribe button. We drop new episodes every week, and honestly, this is the only podcast I know of that breaks down what's actually happening on the examiner side of the table. Right, Anthony, let's give people the takeaways. If they remember nothing else from this episode, what are the 3 things?
Okay, number 1, and write this down. Arrive 30 minutes early and treat that 30 minutes as part of the test, not waiting time, test time. Phase 1 of your test starts in the waiting room.
Got it. Number 2?
Number 2, your first English words must not be with the examiner. Tongue twisters, reading aloud quietly, or best of all, chatting to another candidate. Whatever it takes, just don't let your first English sentence of the day be, "Good afternoon, my name is..."
That's such a good rule. And number 3?
Number 3, prime 4 gear shift phrases before you walk in. I'd have to say, what I find particularly interesting is, to be perfectly honest, and if I'm being frank, mutter them under your breath. Get them on the tip of your tongue. Because once you walk in, the phrases that are easiest to access are the ones that come out. And these 4 will instantly bump you toward band 7.
Beautiful. 3 things. Arrive early, warm up before you face the examiner, prime your phrases. That's it. That's the secret routine.
That's the secret. And honestly, the wild thing is it costs you nothing. You don't need a tutor, you don't need a course, you don't need to study 1 extra hour. You just need to use the 30 minutes that are already sitting there. All right, before we wrap, quick thing. This episode just completed our second Examiner's Secrets trilogy. So if you haven't gone back to episode 10, how examiners actually score you, and episode 15 on storytelling, go binge them seriously. Together with this one, they form a complete strategic foundation.
And next episode, episode 21, we're jumping back into part 2 cue cards. We're tackling Describe a Happy Childhood Experience. And I'll tell you right now, this is one of the most underrated cue cards in the entire test because you can literally make it up. And Anthony is going to show you the specific emotional vocabulary that takes a flat answer to a band 8.
It's a fun one. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And seriously, try the warm-up routine before your next mock test. Even just doing the tongue twisters and the gear shift phrases. You'll feel the difference within minutes.
Until then, keep practicing, stay calm, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, everyone.